Goal analysis and gap analysis are just tools. If you can use them, though, step by step, to work through knotty problems, things that are just very foggy, fuzzy, hard to grasp. Whenever you're frustrated, you don't know what to do. These are some tools you can just take piece by piece, start working through. There's a book by Robert Mager called Goal Analysis. It's one of those little books that has all kinds of white space in it. You know, the kind you love. Small book, and it'll help you walk through this process again and again and again, of step by step, just working out what really needs to occur from very fuzzy, very vague ideas. Let's take a look at solving relational problems. And I'd like to look at that quickly, and then using 6 responses. And then I have a handout for you on group problem solving that is just for you to take. Solving relational problems, some thoughts for you, and just in general, some guidelines on solving problems in relationships. Solve your own problems, not those of other people. You know what the Bible says about that? Like one who seizes a dog by the ears is a passerby who meddles in other people's quarrels. You know, you pick it up and you can't put it down now. Second thing, remove the blockages to communication. Many times people try to talk at very inappropriate times. They don't have enough time to really resolve an issue. The person that they got a problem with feels manipulated. Inappropriate timing, an inappropriate place, difficult to hear, or it's very embarrassing to be talking about these things in such a public area. High emotion, getting hurt, angry, embarrassed. Calm down before you start trying to communicate. Whenever people are really strung out emotionally, they don't hear things rightly. It's not the time to solve problems. Confess sin and ask forgiveness. Very often we've abused a relationship. It's going to be hard to talk things through because we just need to ask forgiveness. Get rid of the blockages. Next, attack the problem, not the person. Fighting wastes valuable resources. Attack the problem. It's very easy to just go after the person. But use your energies together to attack the problem instead of each other. Try to figure this thing out. If you want to use goal analysis, fine. If you need to use something else, fine. If you just need to talk through things, but keep attacking the problem, not the other person. Another one, deal with persons, not just ideas or issues. Guys are real bad for dealing with issues. And it turns out they happen to be dealing with people, not issues. All people ask 2 questions all the time. One of them is, can I trust you? Particularly if we got a damaged relationship. Can I really trust you? And if we start acting in a way that undermines trust, we hurt ourselves. A PQT, this thing called the prior question of trust. The thing you ask yourself before you say anything or do anything is the way I'm behaving building trust or undermining it? Another question that everyone has for us, particularly children, but everyone has for us. If you're a leader, people who follow you have this question, unasked, but it's still there. And the question is, do you think I'm okay? Do you think I'm important? Am I okay in your eyes? Many times we'll try to jump in and solve an issue with a child, and the child doesn't know that they're okay with us. We think they're neat. Sometimes we jump into a relationship, try to solve a problem with a parent, and the parent is really asking, is our relationship damaged? The issue is not the important thing. It's first, am I okay? And then if I'm okay with you, then we can talk about this thing. So it's just very easy to jump in very quickly, ignore the person, and start trying to deal with the problem. But you're dealing with persons trying to work on a problem. A last thing, it's what's right, not who's right. If you fix the blame, you have still not fixed the problem. Many times we get into, well, it was your fault. I said such and such and you just blew up. No, it wasn't my fault. If you hadn't said that, I wouldn't have blown up. And we start trying to fix the blame, and it does absolutely no good. You want to work out what's right to do before God. I just figure out whose fault it was. There are 6 responses that you can use in working through problems that have been a tremendous help to me. And here they are. They go in this order, their order of depth. The first one is to judge. Person says something, we say, oh, well, that's a good idea. Or what a dumb thing to say. Or someone comes to us and they start trying to talk about a problem, and I don't think you have the right perspective on this. And we judge, we evaluate the wisdom, value, or correctness. Next is instruct. Again, these tend to move in a pattern. Instruct, we're going to educate or inform them. We judge. Next level down is instruct. The next level is probe. That's we want to get new information. What happened? How often did it happen? When did that occur? Why did you do that? Where was this? Get new information. Next is understand. Clarify. Now, this is what I hear you saying. Is that accurate? Give me feedback. Next one is identify. And the last one is support. Support says not, I believe you're exactly right. It says, I'm not sure exactly what's occurring, but I want you to know I really care for you. To identify is to say, I've got struggles too. I've really wrestled with some issues. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with you, but I understand that you're struggling. Support goes on to say, I care about you. Our normal response in trying to solve a problem with a person is we judge first. The wife says such and such, or the husband says, well, I was just thinking so and so. And she says, well, that's just totally insensitive. I don't see how you could say that. Or if it's a guy, the wife will say, well, this is what's occurred. She's upset. She says, this is what occurred. And he says, that's what you did? That was stupid. What you should have done is such and such. And then he'll ask, what else did you do? And then he'll say, that was stupid. What you should have done is such and such. And what else did you do? That was stupid. What you should have done is such and such. This is what we do with kids. What we tend to do is we tend to approach our problem solving as people are trying to open their hearts up. We tend to approach it top down. What we need to do is we need to go bottom up. We need to say to a child or to our husband or wife or to our friend, I really care about you. I'd like to be of help in any way I can. You're struggling. I've gone through some struggles too. I don't know exactly what's going on. Whenever you say to people, oh, I know exactly what you're struggling with, they all know that you don't. That's not what you say. But I've had some struggles too. What I hear you saying is such and such. Is that accurate? Let them give you feedback. Tell me more. I care about you. Now, I've had some struggles maybe in the same area. What I hear you saying is so-and-so. Is that accurate? Tell me more. Later on, there's time for teaching and maybe judging. But what we tend to do is we block communication by jumping in very quickly with judging and instruction. We try to be efficient with people, and you cannot treat people efficiently. Every time you get treated efficiently, you feel mad. You have to treat people effectively, and it's helping them to open up with you. Does this make sense? Okay. I would encourage you to memorize these and use them the next time you get crossways with someone. Give yourself some time to work through, and actually, I memorize these. I use these continually with my kids. This is what I use with Deborah. This is what I use with staff. Because, I want to be treated the same way, folks. I want to know that people care about me. I'm okay with them. Now, it's hard to get deep stuff out of my heart, and I need some help. And then we can get on to instruction. So, in working through problems, this has been a tremendous help to me personally, going this way. Where personal behavior comes from, we've all got pluses and minuses in our hearts, good desires, bad desires. What we do is we filter what we want. We filter our desires through our perspective and our goals. And we come up with our behavior. If you're having a struggle with someone, they're doing things that you don't know why they're doing this, you have a real question of what's going on, or something needs to change in their behavior. What they're doing flows out of their perspective and their goals. Until perspective or goals change, behavior is not going to change. With my kids in the long term, I can discipline my children and say, you don't do this. But I've got to teach them to see life in such a way that the right things make sense. Now I've got to help their hearts grow in such a way that they want to do the right things. So as you're working through problems, just know that very often people's perspectives have to change if behavior is going to change permanently. Now let's move on back to identifying wise strategy and walk through this quickly. Whenever you put together a strategy, this is a tool for just helping you talk through a problem. Whenever you put together a strategy for handling a problem, one of the questions is this really godly, or is this just sort of selfish and manipulative? Sometimes people in churches get into problems, people start developing strategies to try to work out stuff, and they end up in a mess. Sometimes companies end up with a lot of problems. People begin trying to strategize how they're going to work things through, and here's how you identify wise strategy. If you're going to be dealing with your folks, going to be dealing with a mate, going to be dealing with apartment mates, going to be dealing with coworkers. If it's wise, it's always got 3 dimensions to it. One is toward God, it's right. There's nothing wrong with doing things this way in God's eyes. Second is toward people. It's just and fair. And then third, toward the goal, it's effective. You can be just and fair and doing things right before God and not have the perspective to come up with something effective also. That's where you get advice from. But if it's wise, it's going to have all 3 of these things together. If it's just very effective in getting the results, but one of these other things is cut, it's not a wise strategy. It's going to backfire in the long run. The earmarks of godly strategy you find in the book of James. And here they are. James writes, the wisdom that's from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving. Wisdom is a strategy. Considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruits, impartial and sincere. Peacemakers who sow in peace raise a harvest of righteousness. And here are the characteristics. Pure, the word means clean, modest. It's not arrogant, not dirty. It's got one goal. It's really just try to please God in a way that does good to people. Peaceable. It's looking for a way to be in unity and at peace rather than looking for a way to push its agenda and go to war. If the strategy you're using has that edge of, let's mix it up, you're out of bounds. It's not a wise strategy. It's gentle, considerate is the word. You could use either one in the Greek. It's easy for people who've got questions about the way this is happening. It's fine for them to ask questions. There are no hidden agendas here. It's very gentle with people. It's not defensive, closed-minded, bullheaded. You can ask questions, it's fine. Submissive, the word in the Greek literally means compliant. It just very easily moves to obey and help out the whole group. Full of mercy, it operates in a way that has real compassion on people. Normally, whenever you had opposition from people, you get to hate them, and you come to the point, like the old saying, if you had them in a jug, you wouldn't give them air. Tighten the top down and just watch them. God always treats us mercifully. And whenever people start acting in a ruthless manner toward people, particularly their opponents, it's not wise. God is going to see judgment come out of this thing. It's impartial, doesn't play favorites. It just does what's right to people. It's sincere, it's without hypocrisy. Doesn't play pretend, it's not two-faced. You don't have to be two-faced around people. The earmarks of demonic strategy, James says, such wisdom doesn't come from heaven. It's earthly, unspiritual of the devil. Where you have envy and selfish ambition, you'll find disorder in every evil practice. Here are the earmarks of the wrong kind of strategy. If you're trying to work out something in your marriage, trying to work out something with kids, trying to work out a relationship outside your marriage, or problems in a business. It's earth-based, it's earthly. That is, ordinary secular people who never knew God could do this. It approaches just like the world does. It's unspiritual, has nothing in common with the Holy Spirit. Nothing like peace, mercy, kindness. It's demonic. It's ultimately characteristic of the way the devil would handle things. One of the questions you ask is, how would the devil solve this problem? Well, you go out, buy an AK-47 and take care of it. Well, that's demonic. It has selfish ambition. What's going on underneath it all is not a desire to just do good before God, but a desire for selfish goals and jockeying underneath the surface for power. Creates disorder. Things start falling apart as this goes further and further and further. And then foul practices. Rather than good things happening to people, bad things start happening. The last thing right here is the foolish approach to getting what you want out of life. Many, many problems can be traced to one of these approaches to life, particularly relational problems, but a lot of other problems can be too. The use of this thing, identifying wise strategy, if you're ever asked to be a part of a group who's going to revise things in the family or in the business or whatever, watch about the kind of strategies you come up with. Test them by these earmarks. If you're operating by the first set of guidelines, what's going to happen is going to be good. It's very often to think creatively in this direction. It's very often hard, but it's going to be good. If you take the normal cutthroat approach to getting what you want, there'll always be a backfire, and it'll always be costly. These last things are in the scriptures, the foolish lifestyles. There are 6 foolish lifestyles in the scripture. And they're foolish because they don't deal with reality in the way God has made the world, made the universe. And here they are. The foolish approach to getting what you want out of life. Keep on believing life's not that hard to figure out. Just keep on believing it, babe. There'll be a lot of people using your money, eating your food. Actually, life's pretty complicated. Marriage is sort of hard to figure out. Child rearing is sort of hard to figure out. Business can be pretty hard to figure out. You have to do some learning. You have to knuckle down and do some learning. But if you want to live simple, that's what the word literally means. Pethi is a Hebrew word for simple. This is the way you do it. Create all kinds of problems for you. Well, it's not that hard. I had a guy tell me one time, fell with all kinds of problems, had a lot of money, but had a lot of problems. He had inherited his money. He said, this discipleship stuff, it's just not that hard. I thought, you have no idea. He blew up the group he was trying to lead because he wouldn't learn. Here's another one. Evil is the word. It's another fool. It's a fool pattern. The way you get your way in life is you get reactive, upset, demanding, stubborn, and manipulative. This is a classic mother-in-law. If you develop this pattern in life of being real easy to upset so people walk in fear of you, being manipulative so they have to constantly watch about the under-table schemes, then all you're going to reap is just tremendous conflict. It's at the root of a lot of family problems. Kasil, this is another Hebrew word. This is a lazy person. The way you get what you want in life is indulge your lazy streak. Don't bother to work hard. Lie a little and keep on looking for that magic key that's going to let you score big in life. Keep on buying that lottery ticket. One of these days you'll be the state lottery winner. In Texas, you actually have a greater probability of being, and this is true, of being robbed while standing in line to buy a lottery ticket at 7-Eleven than you do of actually winning the lottery. But you're going to score big one of these days, not doing anything toward it, but just sort of trying to slide through life. Life actually has hard work to it. Sakal, Forget your responsibilities and go for fun in the moment. Party now, pay later. Halal, promote yourself, bully and threaten others to get attention and power. Well, if you just do that, bully your way through, people stand back and you get what you want. And they'll plot your assassination. These people tend to be very arrogant, and they want to let everybody know just how impressive they are. It creates all kinds of problems in life if you do this. Now, last one is Nabal. These are predatory people. What you do is you either get hurt in life, and so you harden your heart, or you just sort of generally come to the conclusion there's not a God, and you don't have to worry about him. So you harden your heart, sear your conscience, and become out for yourself alone. You take what you want from others. It's not your fault they're that stupid. If you become out for yourself alone, you start living out of a strategy for life that's just guaranteed to create all kinds of problems. So most of us have one or two of these that sort of our heart really responds to. If you pick your weaknesses, watch out for them, live out of line with them, not in line with them, and life will take a different turn for you. Questions on these? Comments or questions? Okay. Had a couple of blanks. Oh, on page 5, that's meant to be a blank. It's a contrast between, I would want to understand Uno rather than develop an understanding of Uno. You can fill anything in the blank there. So as you're changing your goals, you'd want to change it toward an event rather than a process. Book is written by a fellow named Mager, M-A-G-E-R, Robert Mager. You can read the whole book in probably 45 minutes. Make yourself feel accomplished. I like those. I hope this has been a help to you. There's a lot that's not been said. What I wanted to do is put in your hands some tools, not that you're expert at, you don't get that out of a workshop, but put in your hands some tools that you can start to begin to use and ask questions about and grow in your skill in using over time. Problems are a part of life. They're actually the doorways into the future usually for us. The enemy delights when they show up in our lives because his hope is they'll overwhelm us and we'll just lie in the swamps and the alligators will take us. God is at work in the middle of them to open things into the future for us we never dreamed of and to grow us in brand new kinds of ways. Whenever problems show up on my doorstep, I still get that tight feeling in my stomach. But I can turn my mind from the hopeless swamp to God's opportunity and begin to grow. I hope this has been a help to you. Thank you for being here. Our purpose in the discipleship program at this point is to put some tools in your hands so that as you grow in the Lord and you start aggressively begin trying to deal with some of the problems that have dogged your steps, you'd have some real tools to address these things with. So I'd be glad to chat with you personally if you have some extra questions on this. We'll close out, and thank you for being here. And for those who are watching the tape, may this be a blessing to you on into the future.